Hello everyone. So yesterday I did a video on why body language really matters. And I got some good responses and a woman emailed me and she said, this is really good. And she goes, I want to see if you can take it a step further. Can you give us some specific tips on how to use body language? So I started thinking about what do I really want to share with you today that I think can really make a difference. And I started pulling some stuff together from what I thought about with Oprah and about trust. And what I want to share with you today is a few body language tips that I believe that if you can incorporate in your life in the way that you talk and connect with people, then you will build stronger trust and connection with the people in your life. And I want to share a line from this book it's probably the best book that I personally read on trust. And it's called The Trust Edge. You can see it here. And in this book, it talks so much about why do we as people sometimes not connect with other people in our life. And there's one description that I love. And he says, if you want to show someone you don't care, just use call waiting. And he says, I thought about how many times in life do we just constantly put people on call waiting in our life? That when we're really talking with them, that our eyes are darting off in different directions. We're not fully present. We're supposed to be on the couch connecting and watching television, and we're on our phones or we're on our computer, and there's other stuff people are talking to us, and we turn our head and say, yeah, but our focus is really here. And so many times in our life, we don't stop to make that person feel valued, to make that person feel like what they have to say really matters. And there is nothing more important than what's going on than this conversation right here. I think it's hard because we have to be very intentional about making sure we are fully on in that moment. I was watching Oprah and reading an article yesterday about, making I know we all hear the term active listening, but this term that I read on Oprah that I like a lot better is this article was about how do you make every moment in life sacred? That there is nothing more important than that moment right here, right now, in me talking to you. And so I'm going to give you 4 body language tips that I believe that if you can incorporate will help you in personifying that image to the person on the other side of that message. So here we go, a couple things to think about. Number 1, which we all heard about, is eye contact. So out of 100% of eye contact, how much do you think you should have with someone? Out of 100%. So most people, sometimes when I go to these workshops, people are like, oh, 100%. And I'm like, no, that's creepy. No one likes it. Anything over 80% is considered intimidation. I call it Gary Busey creepy. So it's uncomfortable for people. So what we know is that we should maintain between 60 and 70% eye contact. The listener always gives more eye contact than the talker. It's normal for the person that's talking to kind of look up, think about what they're going to say, and then re-engage in the conversation with you, with eye contact with you. So having really good eye contact is important. Number 2 would be this thing called the head tilt and nod. So there is one of those gestures. It's the gender differences between men and women. Men do it and women do it, but generally we see a lot of women do it more, is when they tilt their head and they nod slowly. And I always ask people, especially men in workshops, they're like, what does this mean when a woman is doing this, when that person is nodding? And they usually get it wrong, of course, but what we talk about is it means, a woman typically means when they're doing this, that yes, I get you, I understand you, tell me more about that. And the difference is, not all men, but some men, most men when they do this, they typically only nod when they agree with something. And so what I try to talk to you, I don't want to teach you to be someone else. I want you to get clear that there's a time and a space to be both of those. And in the moment when you're really trying to connect with someone, it's okay to tilt your head. It's okay to nod occasionally when appropriate, not the entire time. But a nod to say, you know what, that's interesting. I understand you. Tell me more about that. It makes the person feel like you're truly there, you're making the moment sacred, and you're engaged. So that's number 2. Number 3 would be space. We always hear this term around active listening stuff to lean in. Well, the reason is because we know that we get closer to the things that we like, and we get further from the things that we don't like. I love when I go to church and I get to see how people sit beside each other. Because you can tell if it was a good day coming to church or not. Because if a couple's really into it and it's close, their arms around each other, or there's going to be very little space between the two people, and their bodies are usually lined. And if things didn't go well a lot of times, or the assumption or how we can perceive perceive it to be is a lot of times you might be sitting beside me, but I'll block you with my shoulder. I'll try to create as much distance from you as I can in the relative space that we have. And so if we're trying to make the moment sacred and make that person feel connected, I don't need to have power and confidence. Sometimes I make myself a little smaller and I lean in and I do tilt my head and I nod and I say, wow, I didn't know that happened to you. Tell me more about that. And I make sure that my body aligns with my message and makes that person feel like there is nothing more important than what you're talking about right now. And the last thing that I believe is one of the most important things, and if you take nothing from this video, I hope you'll take this, is I ask people, what do you think is the most honest part of the body? And if you've seen some of my videos, you might have heard this before, but what is the most honest part of the body? And it is your feet. Your feet will always face the direction you are most interested. And the reason why that is so important is how many times every day are you at your office and you're working on your computer and somebody comes in your office door and you don't turn your feet. You're actually just turn your head and you're real polite here, but your feet don't turn. I know you're not trying to have a conversation, that what you're focused on is more important. Or I did a workshop and this mom goes, thank you, Justin. She goes, I can't tell you how many times I just get busy being busy, and I go to work, and then I come home, and I'm making dinner, and I never just stop and directly face my own kids and just say, how was your day? Because we're busy being busy. And can we just stop, make sure our feet are pointed towards the person, or at least at an angle, and just to make that person feel understood and heard, to say what you say matters, and I'm giving you my complete undivided attention in making this moment sacred. Because me talking to you like this has a very different feel than if I'm facing this way and just turn my head and talk to you. This doesn't feel nearly as connected that if I'm willing to be completely vulnerable, have all my upper body facing towards you and making sure my feet are directly facing you, or at least at an angle. This makes people feel, whether they don't probably think about it, but subconsciously we connect with people better like this. So, 4 body language tips to create better trust and better connection with people. Making sure you have great eye contact, using this whole head tilt and nod occasionally and when it's appropriate, making sure you use space, whether it's leaning in or whether you get closer to people. And number 4 would be making sure your feet are really aligned to the person at an angle or directly facing them. These are easy things that you and I can do with our body language to make sure people feel heard, understood, valued, and just create stronger trust and connection with people. Because at the end of the day, it's trust and connection that builds relationships. It's what builds businesses. And so when we don't think about it, we cost ourselves the chance at potential sales. We cost our at the relationship, the way that we lead teams, or even in our personal life, how our relationship unfolds. And this is why so many people in relationships, we stop investing in each other. We stop making sure each other feels valued or appreciated because we just stop thinking about how we're showing up. So I hope these 4 tips give you something to think about on how you're showing up. Big fan of the book, The Trust Edge. And so can you stop putting people on call waiting in your life? If today, just take one moment. If you can even catch yourself putting someone on call waiting, then this video is helpful to you. Because if you can acknowledge it and get aware of it, then you can change it. So today, just watch yourself through the day. And when you're with somebody, are you fully with them? Do you make that moment sacred with the people that you're with and say that nothing else that's going on, not my phone, not anyone else that's around me, not what's happening outside, nothing else is more important than you. And I'm going to be fully present because what you have to say is important, and I want you to know that it matters to me. That's what it's about. All right, so I hope this video is helpful. If you think it's valuable, you think someone else could use it, feel free to share it or leave a comment in the section below. I'd love to read your comments. And if no one tells you today they believe in you, please know that I believe in you. You're capable and you are going to do amazing things. You just have to believe in it. All right, so I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful, Thursday? Hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.